next we have, without further ado, our guest speaker, Bevan.
Thanks, Dennis. Good evening, everybody, and good to see a lot of friends here. And I won't be too long-winded because your supervisor is here, and so it's a great opportunity for you to have some feedback. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bevan Dufty. I served on the Board of Supervisors for 8 years. I just love in the back corner. Pay attention. And before that, I used to run neighborhood services. I was director of neighborhood services for 5.5 years. It's a crowd. I really do know. Thank you, Jim. That's where Jim and I first met back in the day. And I've had a really great experience for 18 years in city government. I am advised not to be too political tonight, so that's kind of good. It's difficult for me not to talk about what I'm doing because it's what I do all day, every day. But I do want to just mention maybe a couple of things. One of the things is this past weekend I went to the Y, the Central City Y, had a family day of activities. Did anybody here get to go by? And it was amazing. But I would say that there are a lot of families that are still not bringing their kids out to the events, and I'm certainly well aware that this is a family-rich neighborhood with a lot of kids in it. This past year, I got involved with the Mariac Academy, and one of the things that they wanted was just a crossing guard, someone to kind of be out there on the street, to be eyes and ears. And so at the time, it was a little difficult, so I got some donated money to start the crossing guard, and then the MTA picked it up as part of this fiscal year. And so I am pleased about that, and I've also been very involved with the Community Justice Center, and I know many of you have followed that because we need a more therapeutic approach to our justice system here, and I think that that has been successful. Some people thought that it was going to be a punitive court, really going after people based on their circumstance rather than their actions, and I do feel that it's the most unique problem-solving court in the country because over 60% of the cases before it are felonies. Usually it is what you experience in New York and other problem-solving courts where they tend to focus on what they call the low-level quality of life offenses. But in this case, what's happened is that individuals who are looking at significant prison time based on having multiple minor drug arrests are given the opportunity to really turn their life around, and I think that it has been successful. I just went to the 2nd anniversary celebration. I was instrumental in getting the money at the board, and I've served on the advisory committee for 2 years. And kind of with that, I think I should open it up and just see what's on people's minds. And again, I want to be deferential to Supervisor Kim, who is your representative, but I do get a lot of people that still call me for problems, and so I'm pretty pleased with that. That's kind of part of my mantra. Make the everyday things kind of work for folks. So, are there any questions you have? Yes.
Recently, my neighbor has asked the Board of Supervisors to forego their pay raises. Are you in favor of that? And are you also in favor of working out a deal with the union to forego some pay raises rather than going to the ballot box?
Well, I would say that city employees over the past 2 years have given back. This year and the year prior, they gave back $250 million in givebacks. And so I think people are willing. I'm loath to tell somebody that they should give back. I think that people should make decisions. I did make decisions. I took furlough days this past year before I left the board, and it dropped my salary some. But I just don't think, I think that people should want to do that. I mean, I've seen situations where mayors go in and they point the fingers and say, all these people should give money back, and it looks kind of good for the minute that you read it in the newspaper, and then people are kind of ticked off behind the scenes because they say, well, this is what your circumstance is. Or for me right now, I retired. I had 28 years in the city retirement system, and I didn't think it would be kosher for me to take a job with somebody that everybody knew I wasn't going to show up for. So I retired. So I'm in a situation where I can write a check and get money back, but I'm probably not going to do that this year. So, and I'm a little loath to tell people what to do. I do think that there's a tremendous amount of pressure right now with Jeff Adachi out on some pension reform measures, and I think it's kind of keeping people's feet to the table. As much as I might disagree with elements of what Jeff proposed last year, I think that he's genuinely motivated by the people who are his clients, and he feels that those people are seeing their services being squeezed by pension and healthcare costs. And I believe that Ed Lee is doing a great job of sort of being a less politicized mayor. I think he's doing a good job of bringing people together, and I am confident that we will see something on the ballot that I think will represent consensus and hopefully save us from $100 to $200 million. When I'm mayor next year, my focus is really going to be taking the next step, which is really around wellness, because our healthcare costs can really be managed if we really focus in on ways in which people can reduce their own health risks. I learned today that 2 city buildings have just formed Weight Watchers clubs, and with 50 people participating who are city employees, between these 2 buildings, they've lost 1,000 pounds over the last 5 months. And so I could lose a little bit of weight. All of us, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be a nanny, but if there's a positive way to do it, we know that diabetes, asthma, a lot of these conditions that really cost us in terms of human cost, financial cost, work cost, that those things can be addressed. And so I'm really hopeful that between the board and the mayor and the voters that we'll take this one building block around pension changes, and I definitely feel the unions are serious about trying to put things on the table that they think will be significant. And then next year I think we can work together to really do some of the things that Healthy San Francisco does. If you look at our health access plan, it's really around prevention, getting flu shots, doing the things that keep people from being in an emergency room. Yes?
85% of the crimes that are committed in particular people who don't live near Sandy and don't live in San Francisco. I would like to see when a person is convicted of a crime and they don't live in this county, that they can automatically fine $10,000 for bringing crime into our environment. And hopefully that will deter folks from coming across that bridge to commit crimes.
Right.
Is that possible?
I think that an aggressive approach also with stay-away orders with people that are not here, have no family here, have no housing here, have no job here. I absolutely think so. I think that we have to be zero tolerance, because I think that there is an acceptance that people that don't live in a TL have, that somehow that this level of street crime activity is endemic to the area. And your point is what I agree with. I think that people who commit crimes are like other people in life. They're entrepreneurial. They're going to go to the places where they're going to have the most likelihood of success with the least amount of downside. And until we up the downside, things will never change in this neighborhood. So I absolutely agree with you. One of the reasons, like I was shocked when Gavin named George Gascon to be the DA. One of the things I kind of liked about it was that this man has spent much of his professional career locking people up, and he seems genuinely focused on trying to turn things around. We've had, under the past 2 DAs, we've had community courts, but only 50% of the people are showing up to them. And so if there's not a downside for not showing up, again, people are entrepreneurial and they're going to do those things. When people get on my case about people panhandling in Castro, I said, well, folks come out of the bars at night and dropping $20 bills in people's pockets. What am I going to do? So I absolutely agree with you, and I think that that is a challenge to provide meaningful opportunities, but to really take the commuting criminal out of this equation. I think it would dramatically improve things. And I honestly think, because everybody knows in San Mateo or Alameda, do the crime, you're going to do the time. They do not play in those counties, and I think that hopefully this is, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yes?
Hi,
Good to see you.
what is your plan for reforming the union?
Baby, I'm on it every day. I can show you my Clipper card. It was an ugly day today. Today I was riding in to go downtown, and I don't know if anybody had this experience, but I was on a T, and we came into the Van Ness station, and it was like the bottom of the train came out. I mean, literally, it was like the undercarriage had dropped. And the driver had a good way about him, and he said, I don't really know what that was, but I can tell you it did not sound good. Let everybody out of the front door, and I made a couple of calls. I walked out. I saw gridlock at New Montgomery and Market, I called the Deputy Chief of Police, and John Murphy, and asked him to send a PC over there. And then coming back an hour later, I was in a train that I was in Montgomery Station at this time, and the train wouldn't move. And I saw the gentleman on his knees kind of talking to the operator, and I was so impressed that somebody responded so quickly. And it turned out he was just a passenger. He was an engineer trying to convince the driver to back up because he couldn't get it to move forward. Let me tell you the shorthand of what I wouldn't do. I think we're past the time where politicians telling you that they're going to go find the best person to run a department and bring people in from the outside of San Francisco. All of you are good consumers of city government here, and you know that that is a showstopper for somebody to move here. They got to find their spouse a job, they got to get their kids in school, they got to find a place to live in this expensive town. And then guess what? They get a commission, they get 11 supervisors who can be a handful, and a mayor. It makes no sense to me. And as much as I respect things about Matt Ford, the fact that he brought 7 people from Atlanta to be the leadership of Muni has decimated the morale of that organization. You have to develop the people that work within the organization. But the bottom line is for Muni is it's going to take, nobody promised 100 days, it's just got to take a direct and constant focus and an ability for a leader of this city and a leader of the MTA to go to the bus yards. And I've talked honestly with Matt and said, Matt, you have a reputation of not going to divisions, not going to the yards. And you all know, I mean, anybody in a job can perform at 60% or they can perform at 90%. And I think we've got to take this to 90% as well as make the investment. We should be ordering new streetcars. As much as the Boeings are probably not that far gone in memory for us, we're at a point where some of you might have seen the story about BART, where those cars are 30 years old. We can't afford, the way we wear and tear on these cars, we've got to be in a process of ordering them. But I'm a huge believer in developing the talent within this organization and then holding it accountable.
With the front point, is there any fear that unions will not be running?
No, I don't. I think that
And that's the last question. So
Okay.
We have, we've got a,
So I apologize. I'll make this.
Well, okay.
Is someone going to talk about me, or do you want me to answer that one? Okay. So what I would say is that this is kind of a chess game that is going on right now, where the operators have to authorize this vote, and it kind of moves things down. I am not so worried about it. It was an overwhelming vote, which I think, in effect, is a vote of no confidence in the current leadership of the agency. And again, maybe life isn't fair, but Matt has pursued enough jobs outside of San Francisco. And as I said to him honestly 2 months ago, when Gavin lost for governor, he came back, he was humble, and he said that he had the best job and he should have been more appreciative. I've not seen that do that, and I think there's going to have to be